right. Hi, and welcome to the MOACAC Virtual College Exploration for all Missouri students. I'm Lindsay Tobin, and I work with Drury University, but then I also serve on MOACAC. Few notes to go over. Next slide, actually. There we go. So you might have questions, and we hope that you do. You'll just need to use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenters at any time. And just so you know, your camera and microphone are off. There are other sessions that you can sign up for as well. This is one of the many ones that is being offered, and a recording will be available too. So if you want to watch this later or you get interrupted and you need to watch it again, then that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to serve a little bit as a moderator today. I do work in the admissions office. My name is Katie Jansen. I'm an admissions counselor, but I'm also a graduate of Drury University. So I will just kind of help things flow today, but also talk to you a little bit about the admissions process. So let's start with introductions, if you want to go first.
I'm Dr. Kevin Jansen, and the reason I'm next to her without a mask is because she's my daughter. So we have been maskless around each other for a while.
Also, what do you do?
I'm a biology professor and chair of the Department of Biology, and will be speaking today from the perspective of all the natural sciences at Drury.
Awesome. Dr. Weddle, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Robert Weddle. I'm the Dean of the Hammond School of Architecture here at Drury. I've been a professor here for a little over 20 years.
Nice. Dr. Pruitt?
Hey, I'm Janice Pruitt. I'm a professor of management in the Breach School of Business. I am also the academic coordinator for undergraduate programming.
Nice. Dr. Baumgartner?
My name is Stephen Baumgartner. I am the chair of Fine and Performing Arts.
Perfect. Okay, so after introductions, we're going to do a little video. So I'm going to screen share. And I believe for videos, especially if everyone could mute, that would be beautiful. And it's going to be a short Drury clip, and then we'll see you in a bit.
The way I feel when I'm on campus, the energy that I'm always surrounded by is a feeling that I think you can only get here.
I love Drury, and it was a home I didn't expect to find.
Drury is a place where every student will explore their professional aspirations and their intellectual interests to be better prepared for life and a career. We offer an innovative program that you won't find anywhere else. We call it your Drury Fusion. There are three powerful components. First, you will discover the power of blending profession and purpose. Second, you are guaranteed at least 3 hands-on real-world experiences. And finally, you'll receive world-class academic advising, career coaching, and life-changing mentorship through the Compass Center.
Mentorship and academic life coaching are in the DNA of Drury University, and the Compass Center is the front door to all of that. There aren't many campuses that are combining academic advising and comprehensive career planning and development and the academic support that will make a difference in every single student's life. That is the role of the Compass Center.
Everything here is so genuine. They take the time out to just get to know you, figure out the way that you are as a person. They make me a priority, and that's all I could ask for.
We offer like over 80 something clubs and organizations.
I was a Drury ambassador.
The Panhellenic Council,
Greek life.
Drury Singers,
The Mirror,
the International Students Association,
and the Women's Golf Team.
A lot of honor societies as well.
and so you really do get to find your niche here.
Drury definitely takes the initiative in getting students to know each other so they have a good basis when they start.
the most transformative 4 years of my entire life.
It makes me feel like home.
Drury is a place where you make connections that last a lifetime.
It's not just because I went to like a small college, it's because I went to this college.
Best decision of my life.
All right. Hopefully that worked for everyone. If it didn't, we had a great time watching it, so it doesn't really matter. So I will go first, just kind of talking about some basic admission things. I always say if you feel stressed out about applying to colleges because you've never done it before, which is perfectly fine. We have a bunch of people that can help you. First things first, you have to apply. So we have 2 forms of application. You can do it on our website, drury.edu/apply. You can find it pretty easily on the website, or Common App, which is pretty universally used by a lot of universities. You will need, so you fill it out, it kind of is an exam that you absolutely can pass. It's questions a lot about yourself. And then once you've submitted that, you then have to have the high school transcript, official high school transcript from your high school counselor, and your ACT, SAT, or an essay to send to us, which is, we are technically test optional this year, which I can talk about in just a second. We also have a rolling admission deadline. What that means is there's no hard and fast deadline that you have to get things into us. We have a timeline that we like to abide by just so that we get all the things done for you, and you are more likely to get as much money as possible to come to Drury. But we'll let you know. So just talk to your counselor if you have any questions about that. We also take a holistic approach to applications, which is perfect and segues me into why we're test optional. We're not going to look at scores and a GPA and say, absolutely, you can't be successful here at Drury. A lot of students come from a lot of different areas and backgrounds and have different talents. And so test taking might not be one of them. We are test optional this year. Not only do have test dates been canceled for people because of COVID, but also we've been interested in being test optional for a while. We know that the test, ACT or SAT, isn't always a great representation of who you are as a student. So the other option is to write an essay and send it to us. If you have any questions about that, please ask your counselor. It'll be on the application as well. But you'll just write us a little essay. We'll grade it on the 0 to 36 ACT scale. And that can take in place for not only admission, but also scholarship purposes. We're really excited about test optional. It's been going great. And then last but not least, financial aid. Financial aid is a huge way that you can pay for Drury. Obviously, it's scholarships, it's government financial aid, it's financial aid from Drury ourselves, and then there's outside scholarships. The FAFSA actually just got posted today. It's open today. You can fill it out with your family. And the priority deadline for Missouri is February 1st. So as long as you get it done by February 1st, you won't be exempt from any form of financial aid that you might qualify for. So if you have any more questions, please reach out to your counselor. We'll get it figured out for you. But I think the professors have even more exciting information to share with you. So I think first I'll have Dr. Weddle talk a little bit.
Sure, thank you. So I'm talking about our architecture program. We really have one program in architecture. It's a Masters of Architecture, which is a little bit strange because you would be in that program beginning with your very first semester at Drury. You don't really take master's level courses until near the end of your time here. We're also a 5-year Masters of Architecture program. So the average in the country is still about 6 years to obtain a master's, and a few schools do that in 5 years, but not a lot, and we're one of those. I want to say a little bit, though, about the thing that really is most distinctive about our architecture program, which is the kind of institution we're in. If you are at all interested in studying architecture, if you've done any research on that, you will probably find that most schools where you can get an architecture degree, large state public universities. I'm just going to real quickly here try to share my screen so that I can show you a little bit of that. So if you look at a map of the Midwest, Drury obviously here in the red dot, all the other gray dots are schools of architecture that are accredited schools of architecture. And the title here says regional accredited schools of architecture. It's really a national accreditation. There's one organization that accredits every place that you might study architecture and get a degree that would allow you to practice as an architect. That accreditor makes sure that all of these schools basically give you consistent kinds of experiences, technologies, information that's required for you to eventually become licensed. So many architecture schools are really very similar in terms of the content of what they have to provide you as a student. What's really different, as I mentioned, is the scale of our university. So if you look nationally, there are very few places where you can actually get an accredited degree and be in a place that is less than 3,000, 2,000 students. It's very rare, and that's one of the most distinctive things about our program. It's one of the things that those of us teach here really love about teaching architecture in the context of Drury, because it is a very different kind of experience. I want to show you just a couple of other images. This is a little graphic that shows the size of Drury's population overall, a little over 1,400 undergraduate students. And our architecture school is about 195 right now. If you compare that to the average of all those other schools I showed you on the map just now, if I can figure out where I changed this. So here we have the circle I showed you for Drury size, as well as the School of Architecture. It's a pretty big percentage of Drury's population, actually. But if you look at the regional averages, most architecture schools in those large universities in the region aren't a whole lot bigger than us, maybe 50 students more, it's the average. But those institutions are over 20,000 students. And so it's obviously a very different kind of context for you to study in. We think that the thing that really that does for our students is to give them a very different kind of focus. So we're not asking our students to only stay in our building and work on their architecture courses all the time. Some of my colleagues might see that differently, but I think they would agree, certainly compared to places like Kansas or Kansas State, we're very much focused on the whole experience of our students, the broad education they get, the ability to work with the local community or other small communities in the region. Something like 85% of our students do minors or double majors, and that's a really important way that their education as professionals, as architects, becomes more meaningful, because they have more assets, more experiences, kind of more empathy for other people through that involvement with other kinds of things. And then really importantly, a lot of our students are musicians, they're involved in theater, they're athletes, they do these kinds of things that, to be quite frank, most architecture schools are going to tell you you can't do. So if you're a student interested in a creative activity, in sort of creative problem solving, but you have other interests you don't want to give up, we think that we're a place for you, and we'd love to talk to you and answer any questions you have. So I will turn it over now to one of my colleagues.
I think it's Dr. Pruitt next, if you're ready.
I'm ready, thank you. So hello and welcome everyone. We really look forward to seeing you on campus, but this is maybe the best we can do during these current times. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Breach School of Business. In the Breach School, you can receive a Bachelor of Business Administration, but then each student will choose either 1, 2, sometimes 3 majors within the Breach School. So we have the majors of accounting, cyber risk management, economics, finance, management, marketing, and international business. Often, as I said, students will choose more than one major. Management and marketing go well together. Accounting and finance go well together. International business goes with everything. So, but students can also choose majors from other fields. I currently have an advisee who is a management architecture major. He is very busy, but he really likes the combination of the majors across campus. Breach also has a minor in cyber risk security and just a minor in general business as well. So other majors from across campus. The scientists, the pre-meds, they sometimes like to have a minor in business as well to go along with their future practice. In the Breach School, we also like to encourage students to get out and get across campus and join other clubs. But also within Breach, we have some of our own clubs that are open to other areas all across campus. One of them is very new. It's called CEO, Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization. It's open to all students, but the goal of the club is to sort of teach students how to become entrepreneurs. We have another fairly new club, but it began 2 years ago, and it's the Cyber Defense Club, which is probably above my pay grade to talk about, but I think I know what they do. They go out and compete against other cyber defense clubs, and they've really done very, very well. So it's exciting. They have 3 competitions coming up in October alone. And it sounds like they think for sure this year they are going to qualify for the National Cyber Defense Organization. So that's really exciting. A couple other things I wanted to mention to you that I'm always really excited about with regard to our business school is the fact that we do require a study abroad, which right now seems a little strange, but in normal times, yes, we do have all of our students travel abroad to a country and stay anywhere from 21 days to an entire semester at their choice, if they're choosing. So that's exciting. The students really gain a lot of knowledge from being able to study abroad. Most of our faculty take the students someplace. I've been to Greece several times. I've been to Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam. So it really exciting trips. We focus on the business aspects of the countries that we visit. The other exciting part of our business program, I believe, is the fact that we require an internship. And it pairs with a 3-hour course in professionalism. And all of the students then have work experience when they graduate from Drury. So I love our business school. I love teaching in it, and I love my colleagues from across campus. I look forward to any questions that you might have at the end of the program, and I'll give this back to Katie.
Thank you. That was lovely. You're up next. Are you ready?
No.
Well, you have to go.
You're going to put my
Oh, yes. I need to get your slides. I'm so sorry.
So as you've already heard from my colleagues from across campus, Drury spends a great deal of time thinking about not only how to prepare students for their profession, but how to make them better professionals, right? So the architecture program and the business program, and you'll hear soon with the fine arts, we have students expand courses that they take outside their major, and that fusion program that you heard about earlier in the video allows all of the students to become better at the profession that they choose to pursue. So for us, as you see here on the screen, we have a number of majors in the natural sciences. Those majors are specialized to allow you to not only take the courses in the field that you want to pursue, but also have professional development experiences that allow you to, once you get into that professional or graduate school, to be able to succeed and do well. We hear from a lot of schools that our students go to, they will contact us and just say how amazed they are at the leadership capabilities of our students. And I hear that from other department chairs across campus. Students that come to Drury and leave Drury are very successful in their fields. They have those leadership qualities because we have small class sizes and we have modern experiences for them to engage with while they're here. So as you see on the screen, you can major in a variety of different things in the natural sciences, something like exercise physiology, which is specifically built for pre-physical therapists. Our biochemistry major, specifically designed for students going into pre-med, pre-dental, pre-PA. You can pair these, and a lot of our students will pair these with majors and minors across campus, again, to expand their experiences outside of the sciences. You'll also see on here a few programs like the nursing program, diagnostic imaging, and the medical technology, where those are either dual degree programs or programs in concert with another school where students will come out and have more than one degree and have licensure in specific pre-health areas, right? Our tradition at Drury in the natural sciences is to send students to graduate and professional schools. We have a long-term average of over 90% of our students going to the professional school that they wanted to. Our PhD students, usually 100% each year, get into the PhD program that they want to get into. All of that is because we focus a great deal on professional development. The courses that we teach are modern. We engage you with the primary scientific literature from the moment you step on campus all the way through your 4 years here. The research experiences that you have start in your labs. So instead of having canned labs, we have data collection, analysis, and sort of force you to think as a scientist. Those experiences allow you to engage with your field, engage with all of the sciences, and become a better scientist, just as Drury provides you those experiences outside of the sciences as well. So these majors can be chosen to allow you to specialize towards the career that you might want to go toward.
Do you want me? Yeah, I can do it.
We have a number of pre-scholar programs where you can actually apply to medical school or physical therapy school after your second year. Those allow you to, if you get in, and most of the students that we have apply to those scholars programs do get in, you'll be accepted into a medical school after your second year. You do have to finish your undergraduate degree at Drury, but those students in that junior and senior year are very confident in their abilities because they're already in medical school halfway through their time at Drury. We're the only school in Missouri that has 5 pre-acceptance programs, and every one of those schools came to Drury to ask to have these agreements with us because they appreciate the quality of the students that come out of the natural sciences at Drury. So in preparing you to
Yes.
to go forward, we have a number of funded programs here in the science building that allow you to be paid, whether it's our medical scholars program, which pays you over the course of 3.5 years to be able to shadow, internship, and volunteer in a variety of medical clinics around Springfield. We have summer research programs that pay you to do research. We have funded programs that will pay you to go do overseas medical mission trips. And we're not necessarily trying to make you think that you should be paid to volunteer. What we're trying to do is buy your time so that you can engage with these professional development experiences and be prepared to apply either after the second or third year here to go to graduate or professional school. The natural sciences at Drury are intended to not only help you find your career, but discover how your personality matches that career. So all the internships and all the volunteer experiences and all the part-time jobs that our students have, including the research experiences with us, allow students when they're filling out their applications and writing their essays and are engaged with their interviews at medical and graduate schools, can not only talk about themselves, but they can talk about how their personality and their personality traits match the profession that they're going into, because they've engaged with them so much that they know what a good dentist should look like, right? In the qualifications, the characteristics they have, what it takes to do research, because they've already been doing it here at the lab, in one of the labs at Drury. So, excuse me, that process of professional development starts when the first day you get here and doesn't end until you leave Drury. But our students are generally always successful in where they go after Drury. That leadership that they get from engaging with those experiences while they're here is what really makes the natural sciences shine. Thanks, and I'll turn it back over.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel bad for everyone else that didn't have a little slide assistant. So sorry. I actually think, Dr. Baumgartner, you're our last one up. You ready?
There we go. So fine and performing arts is a large part of the Drury education. We have 8 different majors: fine art, graphic design, art history. We have music, music education, music therapy. We have theater and a unique program in arts administration. We also have 5 minors in fine art, art history, graphic design, music, and theater. The fine arts fall under the life category. of the Fusion curriculum. So we have a lot of students who will double major. They will major in business and also major in music, or they will major in architecture and they will major in theater or get a minor in theater. We have a tremendous number of non-majors who participate in all of our fine arts programs. So music, theater, art are great matches in the Fusion curriculum. One of the things that makes Drury very unique when it comes to the fine arts is we want majors and non-majors, and we want to help you financially. We have what are called activity grants. These are available based upon auditions in music and theater for majors or non-majors. Let me give you an example. So this, I'll use the music page as an example. If you go to the music page, you can scroll down and see the auditions and scholarships. This gives you all of the information you'll need for an audition, prospective students, all of the information here, and then you can register for your audition, fill out the form, that comes to us, and we will then contact you to set up an audition date. Activity grants range from, in the music department, range from $1,000 to $5,000 a year for 2 ensemble participation. For theater, they're about $1,500 to $2,000 a year to participate in theater. Half of the people in our music ensembles are non-majors. We have a tremendous amount of non-majors who participate in fine and performing arts, and it really enables us to do more than most small universities are able to do. We have 7 new art gallery openings every single year. The theater does 4 main stage productions each year, plus several smaller productions. We do 30 concerts over the course of a semester. We have 3 vocal ensembles, 4 jazz ensembles, 5 instrumental ensembles, and a brand new marching band. So I always tell students that we are actually able to offer the fine and performing arts experience that you can get at a university that is about 10 times our size, because we have majors and non-majors who participate. If you are interested in majoring in one of the areas of the fine and performing arts, the umbrella organizations of art, music, and theater, this is a great place to come and study. We have a lot of individual attention. You'll be able to explore your craft in music, theater, and art, and really advance your own personal interest. We just did a study that showed that 93% of our music majors graduate with a job in their field or going to graduate school immediately upon graduation. We have theater graduates who are currently working on Broadway, both on the technical side and on stage. One who just finished the production of the revival of Carousel. So we have a lot of programs in fine and performing arts. We have a lot of majors, minors, and non-majors. It's easy to double major. It's easy to combine a fine or performing art minor with one of our other majors. And I'll turn it back over to Katie.
That was awesome. We do have a little bit more time before we need to kind of answer some questions. So for any students that are watching, if you want to type a question in the Q&A box, we'll get to it here in a bit. But I actually have a question for the professors. While you guys were talking, I was thinking about kind of the value of being a liberal arts school while also getting maybe like a STEM or a business major. So Dr. Baumgartner, you did a great job of explaining like a small school with the fine arts, but I think specifically for the other 3 professors, what is kind of a benefit to going to a smaller liberal arts school while also majoring in something that sometimes people would assume you would go to a technical school for, you know, like a bigger STEM school. Dr. Weddle, if you want to start.
Sure, I can answer that. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And a lot of this is what we hear back from employers who tell us things like, our students have the technical ability that they need, that they're going to get at any architecture school, but they also have an ability to talk to people, to like listen carefully, to collaborate and work well with other people. our graduates are often being put in front of clients earlier than normal for architecture firms, where typically what you do is you do a number of years where you're an intern and you're really staying in the office and kind of learning from the projects you're put on. We hear that our students are kind of ready to do client contact earlier than the norm. So a lot of it is professional, I guess what we call soft skills, skills that make you just better at whatever it is you're doing. I think the other thing for me connects with what you heard from all of my colleagues about the tendency of Drury students to do multiple things. The truth is, the tradition in architecture schools is that you just usually do architecture, and you're told, don't try to be in a choral group, don't try to be in student government. The head of student government this year is an architecture major, and that's a really rare kind of thing. So the ability of students to just meet other people, to have very close friends from other fields, really allows them to understand a broad range of people, and those people are the people that we're going to be designing and building buildings for. And we may get paid by the owner of a company or a developer, but we're really working for the people who use our buildings. And so it's very important that architects graduate with a sense of empathy and really an ability to communicate broadly with people who may use their buildings.
That was perfect. And Dr. Pruitt, do you have anything to add to that? I know he did a pretty great job of explaining all that, but anything you have to add?
He did a great job. I would add that the head of student government is not only an architecture major, but he is the double management architecture major that I mentioned earlier. No, absolutely. Our employers constantly compliment our students on their communication skills. So they can write a really good email. They can have a really nice team discussion. A lot of that, of course, is our small class sizes. It's the fact that they get to talk to their professors one-on-one from day one. I mean, they're in our offices, they're in the halls with us. We do things with them. We have activities, and it's just not rare for us to have pizza lunches together. And I think that's really important for students to also interact with their fellow peers students, but also with the adult professors that are around them, and the employers just can't say enough about our students.
I agree. I think I always think about Drury students as being, and this is not supposed to brag on myself, but they tend to be very well-rounded because, and I think as a high schooler, it might sound like we have students do more than another university would, but that's just not the case. It's just we take a little bit more time to make sure that it's something that a student is interested in doing, and so they're happy to show up to that class that's not specifically for their major. And in the end, they just get to be a little bit more well-rounded, which I love. Did you have anything to add? You can say no.
I do agree that our students engage with the community a great deal. 30% of the natural science students are collegiate athletes as well. And that process of engaging with the community or engaging with their team or engaging with the theater troupe just causes them to be able to interact, to understand loss, to understand other people needing things as well as them, right? And so for a science student, that is something that when they move to pre-med, and they go to medical school and start seeing patients eventually, they understand what people go through, right? They've watched patients interact with nurses and PAs and physicians here at Jordan Valley Community Health Center across the road from us, and they know what people from all kinds of backgrounds go through and what they bring to them, with them to that table in that hospital. So as our students go out and whether they do research or go into some form of healthcare, they understand where people come from in a much better way because of those interactions that they've had, both on campus and off.
Perfect. I want to check and make sure I'm not missing anything, but it occurred to me when we were talking that a couple of you mentioned Fusion, and we didn't really go over what exactly that is in totality, but it is our newest academic platform. What that means if you're not in higher education is it's just kind of a way that we've decided to do academics, do gen eds, things like that. So there's 3 credentials. You need a major, you have to have a major. There's minors like normal, and then certificates, which for some high school students, you might be thinking you don't know what a certificate is. So it's just another credential besides a major and a minor that shows that you took the time to specifically take those courses and that you are certified in that. So for an example, there's a certificate that's designing solutions for environmental issues, which is the one that always pops up in my head as something that would be pretty useful for a lot of people. You might have a business degree and a couple other things across campus, but when everybody is applying for a job that you really want, what's going to set you apart is that maybe you took that certificate and you have that on your diploma, and you can say, I spent 4 entire classes talking about the environment, and I designed a solution for a company like yours to help make it more green, and that's why you should hire me. And I'm sold on myself. I think that was great. So it's just, we can talk a little bit about Fusion, and I actually think certificates are something that's different, sets Drury apart from a lot of other universities, and is also something students haven't really heard of before. So I know I didn't do an excellent job of explaining what a certificate is, but it can be a volunteer basis. I don't want to put anybody in the spot, but do you guys have maybe like a favorite certificate on campus that you think is really cool that you want to talk about?
I think we have been put on the spot for that one.
You have been absolutely put, here's the spot and you're on it, but.
So I like the one that I teach in.
Cool.
So it's a certificate in the professionalism section on wrongful convictions. And so within that certificate, of course, there's 4 classes, as you mentioned. And so there is a psychology class. These are just in general, but there's a ethics class. There's my class, which is a criminal procedure class, so constitutional class. And then there's the capstone, where they're actually going to go out and do some studies on why people are wrongfully convicted, what's wrong with the system. So that's one of my favorites, personally.
I love that one. I think of that one too. That's probably the second one that pops in my head. I think Dr. Baumgartner, you turned your mic on. Did you have one to share?
Well, the only one I was going to mention, one of the more popular ones for fine arts is graphic storytelling, which combines English and graphic design.
Cool. I think something that maybe I didn't mention in Fusion, because I just get so excited about Fusion and then the train takes me. But the whole point of it is for you to come to Drury and know that, maybe you don't know it yet, but when you get here, we'll help you figure out what you want to do professionally. But we don't want you to lose the parts of yourself that you're passionate about, maybe already. So if you're super passionate about, I already used the environment, but maybe you really like graphic novels or anything like that, but maybe you don't really want to design graphic novels as a job. You want to instead get a business degree or go to med school or anything like that. You don't have to lose that part of yourself. You can still, in fact, study it and enjoy that part of yourself and still have something to show for it. Yeah. So you can talk if you want.
I was just going to say, at so many universities, and I think probably some of the ones that we all went to as faculty, general education was a series of check boxes that you just took courses in certain areas, and you were left someday to make sense of how they connected. One of the best parts about Fusion is that while you're here at Drury in a relatively sheltered place, talking to people about your ideas and what you think of the world, you are taking courses that are explicitly linked and connected with each other, so that you can begin to have those discussions with faculty, with other students in your classes, about how different fields of endeavor fit together, right? How do you bring information from, as was mentioned before, psychology and criminal justice and the process of how that thing works towards or sometimes against an individual who may not in fact be guilty, right? That process of being able to talk with your peers in a sheltered class with faculty who can guide you to be able to try on those ideas and bring information from different backgrounds, because all those courses are fit together into a theme, is an amazing opportunity for students to do. They don't have to wait till sometime later in life to see how some of those fields of endeavors fit together. They can do that here in these certificates, and it's a very powerful part of the process.
I should bring you with me when I talk about fusion.
You
That was
should.
nice. A couple people mentioned study abroad or even like study away, but you also mentioned internships. And I think not only study abroad, but also internships are a huge part of, as a student, obviously your classes get more difficult when you get to higher education and things like that. But I think you're also learning how to live and how the world works. And that's a huge part of college, I think, is just getting your footing with things like that. So I think I'm going to put you guys on the spot again. If anybody can think of a very interesting internship maybe that you have had a student do, that you've either, I mean, if you helped them get it, that's awesome. Or if you just remember that they had a pretty interesting internship that maybe students listening would want to look into.
Yeah, I can answer that actually. Sorry. We also do require study abroad. I know Dr. Pruitt mentioned that that breach majors, business majors as well, do study abroad. Architecture students do. They also are required to do internships. So we have our students do the equivalent of a full-time summer, so 360 hours in an architecture or related field. And sometimes that's a very practical thing for them. Sometimes it's really a step in the door, and it often leads to a long-term job after school. But sometimes it also gives them a chance to try things out or to make mistakes. You know, that sense that your first job you can get kind of stuck in maybe. Maybe you feel like you realize it's not the right place or scale for you. Through internships, I think you can really get a sense of the working world and of the different kinds and scales and you know, orientations of various businesses that you might work for. Try that out and often, you know, make your decisions based on that. So we also have a program that's a spring break internship program where students will spend the week of spring break in really high profile offices all around the country, sometimes even internationally, places that frankly are very hard for architecture students to get jobs in. We have connections in those offices, and students will go and they'll spend a week working, but also maybe touring projects by that firm, or you know, looking at job sites, or maybe even just looking at buildings in the city that members of the firm have pointed them to that are interesting buildings to look at. And that's really a game changer for a lot of our students. It shows them that they maybe enjoy living in a city of that size, that maybe that's a place they want to look after school for jobs. And sometimes those spring break internships also end up in offers for long-term jobs. So it's a really, really important part of what our students do, I think, in many of our majors.
That's awesome. I agree. And we're actually just about out of time. So if anybody else had an internship on the brain, cliffhanger. Hopefully someone will reach out and we'll send them your way, and you can tell them they might be on the edge of their seat. But I just wanted to say before this ends, thank you guys so much for spending time and answering these questions. But also, that's not anything special here at Drury. You guys spend your time talking to students all the time and helping them figure out not only if they want to come to Drury, but once they get here, what they want to do. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Lindsay might be coming back. Hi.
Hi, thank you guys. And thank you everyone for joining us. I'm going to share the screen as well real quick. So I would ask, after this, there is a quick survey. After you close this window, it's a very quick 4-question survey will appear. We'd appreciate any feedback that you could provide. And also, this was just one of the mini sessions that's being hosted. So be sure to sign up for additional sessions at moacac.org. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as all of the other session recordings at moacac.org. So thank you all, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.